Anyone who's read my blog will know that I didn't always originally plan on doing classics. I planned on being a painter, and I kind of fell into classics and ancient history in a really strange way. I'll link to the post in which I talk about it. I don't want to go into it here. So I never had this kind of strong sense of urgency about the ancient world or deep interest in reading myths for children and things like that when I was a child. But one thing I did have a really strong fascination with was religion. And I didn't come from a religious family. We didn't go to church or anything like that. But my sister and I both did go to an Anglican school when we started high school for various reasons, not really related to the fact it was an Anglican school, but related to the fact that it was, one of the better schools in our area. But then I decided to get confirmed. And in fact, I had to also get baptized. I had not been baptized as a baby. So I went through baptism, I did my confirmation classes, I was confirmed, I went and did Eucharist and all of that kind of stuff. And I still had not really discovered what it was that I was interested in. It wasn't practicing religion. It was just the thinking about religion. I often say to my partner, I wish I could be religious. I really wish that I could find, not find God, but find some kind of greater meaning. But I just don't believe. And I think that's kind of okay. But I do still have a really strong fascination with religion, with the idea of religion, with what it means to be religious, what it is to believe, how people change their lives to accommodate this kind of belief. So when I got to university, when I got to Monash University to start my Bachelor of Arts, knowing at that point that I was going to go through and do ancient history, that was it. It was the religious aspects that really fascinated me, and certainly how much religion was really entwined in absolutely everything. One of the first the first essay that I wrote for my first year classical mythology class was about Helen, and I really wanted to go into this very intelligent and feminist reading of the differences between Homer and Euripides' Helen and all this kind of stuff. And also keep in mind, I was a first year, this is the first essay that I'd ever written, and while it did not turn out that way, I think it was still a pretty good first attempt at an essay. But the thing which I really got stuck on was the way that religious practice, particularly in Euripides' Helen, where she's kind of clinging as a suppliant, and that there's this overriding force that protects her, and that kind of really hooked me. I had in the high school classic subjects that I did, I had never really come across the religious aspect of any of this stuff really in that kind of detail. And I think that was kind of it for me. So I said I was going to talk about one of my classics themed tattoos. And so the one I'm going to talk about is the Athena written on the back of my neck. It's surprisingly difficult to photograph the back of your own neck. And I want to talk about this because I'm actually starting some new research to do with Athena or Athena worship at the moment, which is sort of a materialist rereading of the Panathenaic frieze. Well, using the Panathenaic frieze as a starting point to really look at the individuality involved in this, I mean, super civic, like, this is all about reaffirming the polis's relationship with their goddess, with the goddess who protects them, and in a very community focused way. And even in terms of like non-citizens, the entire Athenian population, well, no, that's actually not correct. The entire population of Athens, as opposed to the Athenian population, subtle but distinct difference, is really represented in this festival, and it's amazing. But what I want to look at is what it can actually tell us about how individuals, and particularly individual girls, so I'm going to be focusing on two main things, girls and women I should say, two main things, which is the group of girls and women who weave the peplos, and how the act of creation, of creating a physical, tactile thing that transcends almost the physicality, the corporeality of what it is when it goes through this process, being, you know, hoisted up into the ship and on the procession and then dressed onto Athena, whether that's the olive wood statue, if there is a yearly peplos, perhaps it goes onto the olive wood statue, or the greater Panathenaia, where perhaps it might be hung behind the huge statue of Athena Parthenos, or even just put into the treasury. It takes on something less than mortal physicality. So I want to look at that, really the act of creation and what it means for this mortally created object to transcend into something divine. So what else do I want to say? Oh yes, so my tattoo. I got this tattoo on the back of my neck. I'm going to put a picture up for you. So hopefully you'll be seeing the picture of the back of my neck right now. I got this tattoo, I think, at the end of my second year or third year of my undergraduate degree. And it was actually a very strange thing for me, because I had never really felt a huge affinity with Athena as a construct of my idea about classics, about ancient history. And in fact, in terms of, particularly in my undergraduate degree and even through to my master, like the end of my master's, the god that I really was interested in was Apollo. And I'm going to talk in another video about my Apollo themed tattoo. So watch out for that. But I went through this very strange phase where, sort of going into exams, particularly my Greek exams, I really felt like I wanted to inscribe something on my body that I could use as a reminder that I know what I'm talking about. So not the answers, but almost a visual device to trigger the answers in my brain. So I started writing Athena in Greek, first on my ankle and then on my arm. And this was one of the Athena tattoo was one that I had thought about and had a lot of meaning, personal meaning for me, and also had symbolism in terms of sort of my wider degree and the things that I had achieved in that. So it kind of felt appropriate, and then at the last minute I thought the most appropriate place is not on my arm, it's not somewhere that is constantly visible, it's somewhere where I can choose to show it or choose to cover it up easily. And also sort of at the the foot of my brain, I suppose. So yeah, so that's the story of my Athena tattoo and a little bit about the new research that I'm doing, and a bit of a story about how I became interested in ancient religion. So I will check back in with you next week. If you've liked this video and you want to keep watching, please subscribe. If you are interested in any particular topics that have to do with either my research, ancient religion more generally, probably specifically ancient Greek religion, being a post-PhD, anything that I write about on my jobs.ac.uk post-PhD blog, anything sort of early career, ancient history, anything you want, please leave a comment or get me on Twitter. I'm at Ellie Mackin, and I will see what I can do for you. And apart from that, I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye!